You're out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, Dad? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for riding along with me this evening. Hope you're being safe out there on those slick roads, because we all know when water hits the road, people can't drive in San Antonio. You may be one of them. I may be one of them. Who knows? But for some reason, people just forget how to drive once the roads get wet. So be safe out there, my guys. I'll get you all the way home right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Of course, you can always ride along with me. You can dial into the phone lines at 210-656-3776. That is 210-656-ESPN. Or you can comment along on the YouTube page. Go to SA Sports Star, subscribe to our YouTube feed, and you can watch along, comment along in the show there as well. And of course, as always, I am on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, everything at I Am Pledger. You can follow the station at SA Sports Star. Man, Cowboys, a lot going on up in Frisco right now. First and foremost, it seems to be the talk about how people handle the preseason, because Robert Saleh of the New York Jets has a brand new quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers, who is coming into a system that he knows because Nathaniel Hackett was with him in Green Bay and has decided that, well, he's going to play in that last preseason game.
You can't coach scared. You can't play scared. You can slip out of your car and have something happen to you. But, we'll be, knock on wood, everyone will be fine. You see some of the great ones out there. Kansas City's playing their guys. Buffalo's playing their guys. It's not uncommon. You could always play the hindsight game or the fearful game. But what's in the best interest for our team is to go out there, play some football together, and prepare ourselves the best way we can for September 11th.
And he's right. You could slip out of your car or possibly slam it in the door at home, which is what happened to Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez. Or, I don't know, maybe you could be flying around in a plane and something goes wrong. Happened with Roy Halladay, actually, if you remember, back with the Phillies pitcher at the time. I mean, anything can happen. Apparently, though, for Mike McCarthy, he's cool with them going up in a plane pregame.
Well, I think first thing, he told me as a Saracen has a parachute, so that gave me some confidence. To me, this is, and maybe it's just the places I've worked. I go back to the 90s. I mean, Marty Schottenheimer had a plane. Joe Montana, had a plane. Jimmy Graham, had Jimmy up there. This is not the first time I've been exposed to it now. Obviously, I don't know about taking the whole crew up with you, but, I mean, Brandon's someone you definitely would trust, and you can see that they obviously trust him in a short time he's been here. So, but, I saw the video. I'm not going to tell exactly what I said, but, he'll do fine.
So it's cool that he takes, Micah Parsons and a bunch of people up in a plane, but playing in a preseason game, that's about risk aversion.
Well, I've lost players. I lost my starting left tackle in the family night scrimmage, so I know what that looks like back in 2012. So, so it's really, risk assessment. I mean, there's pros and cons of playing them. There's pros and cons of not playing them. There's pros and cons of practicing against another team. There's pros and cons of not. So, I mean, just understanding how it all fits together. But I think the other part of it is, where are you as a team? What are you trying to get done? Do you have a veteran group you believe in? This is year 3 for a lot of our group. So, we're further along clearly on defense than we've been. So, I mean, I have great confidence in that part of it. Offensively, my only focal point from as I move forward is to get the starting offensive line together. Tomorrow's team practice will be the first time we'll have the 5 starters in a team period. So just staying in tune with that. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all product of our experiences, and I've seen it work both ways. But I think the risk assessment is, and maybe when you get older, you do get a little more conservative. I don't know that, but and I just think common sense needs to prevail. But I think you got 32 teams, and not everybody does it exactly the same way. So that's really the answer to it. But I just always, where's my team at? Now, if we were just all brand new young, if I was back in 2006, 2007. We would play in all 3 games. We'd play 25 in the first game, play the first half in the second game, and played into the third quarter in the third game. So I've done that format, So, but this format works for us.
Okay, so flying in a tiny airplane, safer than playing in a football game for a few snaps. Not even a whole game, few snaps. And you're talking about risk aversion. You spent 2 minutes when you could have just said the end of that. What you said at the end of it. Everybody does it differently. I have a very veteran-laden team that I trust to be ready to play week 1. That's how you answer that question. Tell me that you're terrified that somebody's going to get hurt. Tell me that you're scared because your job is on the line, and your job is on the line, and you've pushed all your chips into the middle of the table by taking over the offensive play calling. And if you lose somebody, it's over. Like you've run out of excuses to carry on to the next year. Like if Dak goes down in a preseason game, you don't get a pass from the Joneses, and that. Because that's what it feels like this is. I don't know how many teams that I can remember look at it. Aaron Rodgers, new teammates, new players. He's getting his work in. This is new players when you're talking about Brandon Cooks. This is a new scheme, essentially, with a new voice in Dak Prescott's head on game days. The fact that you wouldn't at least want to get some of those logistics out for 2 series, the way CJ Stroud did in the first week against the Patriots. Whether you scored or not, just to get used to that. Because I know they go through things at practice, but there is a difference on game day, calling a game, getting the play in, dealing with crowd noise. It's just logistically different. So the fact that you wouldn't, with all of the changes that you've made in this offseason, want to at least just give it a few series boggles my mind. But tell me you trust your veterans. Here, those veterans that you trusted that came out in week 1 of the season looked very flat in their first game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then Dak got hurt anyway. So I understand risk aversion, but it's a contact sport. It's a game played physically, week in, week out, every play. So why not at least get some continuity with your offense? One thing Mike McCarthy talks about a ton is continuity on the offensive line, marrying their steps. And we find out they're employing a whole new blocking scheme up front on the offensive line. It just feels like game reps, as Indy Clue said earlier today on the Blitz. And if you've missed it, you can go check it out on the YouTube page. Rewind happened at about 3:30, or in a little bit, go check the audio vault at sasportstar.com. You get better at football by playing football. And you can try to replicate game situations and things in practice as much as you can, but nothing replicates it like game action. But at the same time, I'm not surprised. Mike McCarthy's lied to us all off season. Running the ball more, that was the first big lie he told us. Then he comes out in that first preseason game, throws 43 passes to 20 runs. It's going to be very interesting to just see how this season plays out because the Cowboys are stacked. They're loaded. And now people are talking about Jonathan Taylor. Should the Cowboys make an all-in move for Jonathan Taylor? No, absolutely not. That is, listen, I'm all for, I was for going to get Brandon Cooks, but it is one thing to just pay some money to get Dalvin Cook, or bring in someone as a free agent. It is a whole nother thing to trade for a disgruntled player with extremely high draft capital and then have to pay the player on top of paying the extremely high draft capital in a position that doesn't want to be played. Running backs are being phased, and mainly it's because of the abundance of the position and how quickly they adapt from college to the pros. And so getting a running back at $16 million after their first contract, when usually a few years into that contract, you start to see some decline in production because of just the violence of the position. That's not a smart move. And I don't see it as being one the Cowboys would make. Now, if there are cuts and someone like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire becomes available after the cuts down to 53 or something like that, then I can see them adding a running back, bolstering the position that way. But Jonathan Taylor just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense financially, and it doesn't make sense in what it would cost in a cost analysis to actually go get him, because you have to pay premium draft capital, a first or something equivalent to like what McCaffrey went for. I believe it was a second, third, fourth, and a future fourth. That's a huge capital to pay for a running back that is going to be looking for a massive deal on the backside after you acquire him. And then you have to worry about how much gas is left in that tank after that, as he's, recovering from a foot injury, and feet are pretty important to running backs. All I'm saying is dreaming's free and easy. And on paper, adding a Jonathan Taylor seems like ready-made to a team that has very few holes. Make it happen. On the flip side, when you look at it, there is going to be a moment for this team, and the Cowboys are trying to keep that small sliver of a window for their Super Bowl chances open as long as they can. And that's a hard thing to do in the NFL. But I believe they can do it. They have to take the right steps moving forward. Paying a running back isn't one of those steps. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger. I'm going to be joined with Jason Minix next from the Blitz to talk a little bit more about this and how the Cowboys should approach this as they move forward when it comes to Jonathan Taylor, or if they are set at the running back position or not. Plus, Mike McCarthy's thoughts on playing versus not playing in the preseason and flying in a plane before a game with one of their teammates versus not flying in a plane with one of his teammates, and the risk aversion aspect of things. We're going to talk about all that next, coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 San Antonio's Fall Golf Classic is back Monday, October 2nd at Olympia Hills Golf Club. Get your slot now for $120 per person or $400 per foursome. Plus, a hole-in-one shot for your chance at $50,000 or a $1,000 gift card. 94.1 San Antonio's Fall Golf Classic, benefiting the Lupus Foundation of America Lone Star Chapter. Presented by the Law Office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Sean Claw, Flight by Yingling, Twin Peaks, Renewal by Anderson, Meritage Homes, and Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. Sign up now at sasportstar.com.
It's patio season, so get over to the Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road to enjoy the great South Texas weather. As always, ice-cold beer and specialty drinks, happy hour weekdays from 11 to 6, and the kitchen is open late until 2 a.m. every day. Add the Roo Pub into your lunch rotation. With those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around, you know there is no better place to watch a game, and they always have all the fights. The Roo Pub, next to the Angry Elephant, 281 and Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Does that knee pain keep getting worse? How about the pain in your shoulder, hip, or back? Don't let them tell you that steroids and surgery are your only option, and take my advice now to call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's James Pledger with San Antonio Sports Star, and QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all-natural, advanced, regenerative medicine. They help people here every day with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. It's like turning back the clock. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they work like they're supposed to, and there's zero downtime to it. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough, and patients here are getting real, lasting relief, and they're saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, you need to check this out, and the consultation's free. Call QC Kinetics now at 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
Nigel, why are you wearing a backpack?
I'm going back to school.
Folks, when your AC decides to flunk out or your home's plumbing is stuck in detention, you don't have to worry. At Quarter Moon Plumbing, AC, and Heating, our technicians are certified with all the latest technology and can fix any plumbing or AC issue fast and at a fair price because you deserve A+ service.
Gotta go, Joel. We're studying paper mache. I might have to pull an all-nighter.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number
M16004.
DACLA 000743458.
Life moves fast. No one has time for a car, truck wreck, or commercial vehicle accident. At Davis Law Firm, we get it. When you call the force, you don't have to worry about insulting offers from insurance adjusters, property damage, or car rental. We recently settled a wrongful death case in a commercial vehicle accident for $5 million. Net to clients was $2.8 million. I'm Jeff Davis. If you were in a car, truck wreck, or hit by a commercial vehicle, call me at 444-4444. You got it. There's only one number to remember. 4. Attorney consultation by appointment only. Davis Law Firm, San Antonio. Davis Law Firm is a proud official partner, personal injury attorney of the San Antonio Spurs.
Skincare routines are just for girls. Well, I used to think that, but now that I've started using Toro Cosmeceuticals for men, my appearance and confidence have improved. What is Cosmeceuticals? Well, that's just a fancy word for skincare backed up by science. Finally, a luxury yet affordable skincare line for men. Toro Cosmeceuticals. Skincare for all men. Go to toroskincare.com and use code SA20 to get 20% off your first purchase.
When traveling to see A&M in College Station, make sure you bring along the guys from 94.1. Listen anywhere on the Odyssey radio app.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. Thanks for following along with me at SA Sports Star on our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, comment along. Like Rudolph Renee, who says, all I do basically is talk bad about the Cowboys. No, I point out the perceived flaws that I see in a team that doesn't have a lot of perceived flaws. Backup running back, backup offensive line. That's it. I have questions about Mike McCarthy getting rid of an offensive coordinator that literally was second in his time only to the Chiefs in scoring and what that means. It's a question. It is a question I have that Mike McCarthy will answer throughout the season, but it is still a question I have. One person that has probably fewer questions than me about this team, Jason Minix of the Blitz, weekdays 2 to 6 right here on San Antonio Sports Star. But I do know we share one question in common, which is whether to play or not in preseason, especially with the changes that they seemingly are going through on offense this year.
Well, I mean, you're right. Although I want to go back. Rudolph Renee, you are absolutely right. Absolutely right. You know, even if Pledge is legitimate with this question, the tone of it comes across as the hater, right?
Oh, it's the tone.
You don't talk that way about your Texans and all the holes that they have, right? I'm with you. Rudolph
I have
Renee,
too.
100% on this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
What, people can't drive in the rain still?
No. Good Lord. I got to be honest, man. I got in my car. You know how the phone always tells you how to get home? You know, the regular route was like 49 minutes.
Oh, wow.
All right, there's got to be another route. So I'm taking Wurzbach Parkway, which I've been flying along, although it's now at a dead standstill. So
it's been telling everybody to take Wurzbach Parkway.
Well, yeah, apparently. Like I can, yeah. So I got all the time in the world apparently on this wonderful drive home to hear you bitch about the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Well, my first bitch about the Dallas Cowboys is the fact that this is a Super Bowl contending team. This is one of the best teams in the NFC with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. Period. End of sentence.
All right. I don't disagree with that. I'm surprised to hear you say Dak Prescott, best quarterback in the NFC, one of the best. I don't want to misquote you there, but and he is. And you know the thing with Dak Prescott, and I know I'm the homer and all that kind of stuff when it comes to Dak Prescott. I know what we have in Dak Prescott. I know where his ceiling is. I think we're there. Can he continue to play at that level? And that really becomes the big question with Dak Prescott is, you know, I know what we have. So do they have enough around him to try to get a little bit more? And I think they do. The play calling, all that kind of stuff that we've been hearing about. You're right. This is a team that doesn't have many holes, yet people like you will talk about them like these holes are so glaring that's going to keep them from achieving their goals.
No, it won't. But I also have noticed over the last 2 years, the one issue that the Cowboys had was the thing that bit them at the end of the year. 2 years ago, it was the fact that they could not get out of their way with penalties, and penalties ended up killing them in the playoffs. Last year, it was turnovers. And what killed them in that playoff game were Dak Prescott's interceptions.
Well, true. And look, you know, Dak, you know, you heard him when he was on the Blitz when we were out in Oxnard. I mean, you know, they're there, but there are other factors in that. You look at, and Dak takes all the blame and he understands that that's why he gets paid what he gets paid, and he's the quarterback. Trayvon Diggs could have had an interception, didn't. Diggs could have kept Kittle from making a bobbling catch if he would have hit him, and didn't. And the Niners scored on that one. I mean, yeah, we look at those two turnovers, but there were other issues in that game and other players that made mistakes. I go back to it comes with the territory when you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I remember Tony Romo taking so much heat for going to Mexico with who was it? Jessica Simpson, right? Jason Witt was on that trip. So was Bobby Carpenter of all people.
Yep.
Yet Patrick Creighton in that game came up short twice. He dropped what would have been a big gain, and had one in the end zone that he alligator armed. And oh, by the way, the defense gave up a touchdown right before halftime that should never have happened. But everybody goes back to Tony Romo shouldn't have gone to Mexico. It comes with the territory when you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. That's what everybody is going to talk about. You know, he probably gets too much blame and probably too much credit at times.
That is absolutely true. And yes, a lot of the interceptions can possibly be on the receiver. But nobody comes out and say it, and nobody goes to that defense with any other quarterback other than Dak Prescott about a receiver possibly running a wrong route. These are just things that come with the territory when you decide to play the quarterback position. You are, like you said, given too much credit and too much blame. But that's also why they're paid $50 million a year.
Well, that's it. And as Dak Prescott told us, because I tried to get him to tell us how many were actually at fault, and he wouldn't. He said, if the ball leaves my hand, it's on me. All right, cool, man. You're being a team leader and a great teammate, not wanting to throw anybody under the bus. Fine. But you look at it, you look at a guy like Josh Allen. If you looked at Josh Allen's turnovers,
he doesn't get nearly enough.
Well, he plays for the Buffalo Bills, right? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's probably a handful of teams out there that wouldn't love to have Dak Prescott as their quarterback. Now, because he's the Cowboys quarterback, he gets so much more attention because it is America's team. It is the most talked about team in American sports, the most high profile position. Comes with the territory, man. That's the bottom line.
But and since we're talking about Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy and whether starters should play or not and risk aversion, does not Dak Prescott having a new voice and a new game day operation in his ear something you kind of want to work through in a game day situation? Because as much as you can try and simulate that on the practice field, it's not the same.
I am 100% that these guys should play some in the preseason. I'm not a bubble wrap guy. I'd also probably be hypocritical if he got hurt in a preseason game. Why is he out there? How long was he out there? Did he really need that extra series? I mean, it does come with the territory, but I told you before the first preseason game, the thing that I was looking forward to most wasn't about any one of the players that were on the field. It was how was Mike McCarthy in calling plays and managing the game, because he hasn't done it for a couple of years, and it's not like riding a bike. And I know they talk a lot. The one thing, though, that I do kind of feel like this year, Dak has more control at the line of scrimmage and probably more input in the game planning than he had with Kellen Moore. Now, we didn't know that while Kellen Moore was there, but since Kellen Moore has left, comments that Dak has made, comments that Mike McCarthy has made, comments that other teammates have made, that Dak seems like he's got a lot more control at the line of scrimmage than maybe he had with Kellen Moore, or a lot more input in the play calling. And again, if they go out and they stink up the joint, it's why did they get rid of Kellen Moore? Boy, what a bad decision that was. If they go out there and they don't seem to miss a beat, then it was a brilliant decision. But it was a decision that seems to be at least a year in the making, if not 2 years in the making. I do believe Mike McCarthy when he said that he wanted to keep, because of the COVID year, Kellen Moore in the offense, so many guys coming back, why mess it up? And look at the numbers that they put up. But he's got 3 years of and figures he could do it better. And whether he's on the hot seat or not, if he's going to lose his job, at least he's going to lose his job his way. But this is a guy that made his bones in the NFL as an offensive play caller. It would almost seem criminal isn't the right word, but say Mike McCarthy is the head coach of the Cowboys and gets fired after this year and never called plays. Did they miss out on an opportunity, since that is what he is known for? So the timing of it seems about right.
He is Jason Meigs. You can catch him on the Blitz every weekday from 2 to 6 with he and Joe Reinagel as they get you through your work day. Jason, I look at the lack of holes on this team, and I think the Cowboys, they have a lot of very, very tough cuts to make to get down to 53. Probably as tough of a cut as they've ever had to make since Mike McCarthy's been there. But I think it gets even tougher when you think about some of the players that may become available on the outside. And my biggest point of interest when it comes to the Cowboys for the remainder from now until the start of the regular season is what that roster looks like after the cut to 53, and then what it looks like after that cut if there are still other cuts to bring players from other rosters on to solidify the perceived weak points that we see on a team that is stacked.
When there, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, obviously, the injury to Overshone is big, and that means Jabril Cox is going to have to step up. You lose a tight end. I'm not as worried about Stevens. He was probably a practice squad guy to begin with, because it does look like, don't tell Joe, that Jake Ferguson is going to be the guy when it comes to tight end. Backup offensive line situations, I'm looking at all the guys that got cut, or that will get cut, to see if there's something there, because that's a concern. Maybe a little bit in the safety position in that area. But, I mean, you also look at, like, Jordan Lewis coming back from injury. I know that Jordan makes the team. Deron Bland has played well enough to take his job permanently. But, yeah, I agree with you.
And it gives you cap space.
Cuts, and it would give you some cap space. And so I look at some of the areas, who's going to be the odd man out when it comes to wide receiver. I mean, Jerry Jones all but said today Jalen Tolbert was the guy at 4, even though Mike McCarthy did not want to commit that way. But Jalen Tolbert has had a hell of a camp. The other Jalen has played extremely well. Is Simi Fehoko actually going to make this team? There's a chance he does not, because some of these other young guys have outplayed him.
Because Deuce looks like he's solidified a spot. How many running backs are they keeping?
That's right now, and that's a great question,
because special teams matter, right?
At number 2, special teams matter. Rico Dowdle looks like RB2, and then maybe Deuce Vaughn. Malik Davis, he just hasn't. He was the guy coming in. He was the guy all off season because everybody forgot about Rico Dowdle. I'll pat myself on the back a little bit.
You should.
Singing his praises about 2 or 3 months ago, is maybe he's the guy because he's supposedly good in pass protection to replace Zeke. But he's played well. Malik Davis in 2 preseason games hasn't gotten many opportunities, which makes me wonder if he's the odd man out right now, and they want to make sure that Deuce Vaughn can actually be a running back in the National Football League. And I think Malik is young enough. Could he go practice squad after being active roster? I mean, last year Pollard got hurt. They didn't trust him enough to play him against San Francisco. So it does make me wonder, is Malik Davis the odd man out when there are others that thought he was going to be the guy coming in and maybe even push Tony Pollard a little bit?
Yeah, and I also, when you talk about kind of that running back room and kind of the more you do, Rico does do special teams, so it gives them that advantage there. And there's going to be probably other names available, but the name that's forgotten about a lot, y'all said Ronald Jones looked really good in camp. And then he had the injury, and then he's got the suspension he's dealing with. Do you think in any way they also maybe hang on to Ronald Jones?
Yeah. The day they signed him, I didn't think they were going to keep him just because of the guaranteed money. I think he was one of those, let's put this running back in the shopping cart as we continue going through the grocery store, but we're going to leave him on the shelf before we get to the register. But he did look good, all right, when we saw him in camp. But again, I just look at him now. I would be hard pressed to think that he's going to be one of those guys that gets a roster spot with what we have seen from Rico Dowdle and what we have seen from Deuce Vaughn. The advantage that Ronald Jones had is he's a veteran in the league. He's been there. He's done that. He understands it. Because behind Tony Pollard, I don't know that they've got a guy that could be the bell cow running back if Tony Pollard deals with any kind of injury.
He is Jason Mix. Make sure to catch him every weekday from 2 to 6 on the Blitz with Joe Ryan Eagle. Jason, thanks for your time this afternoon. Hope traffic lets up.
Appreciate it, man. I probably got about 10 minutes to go. I should have been home 10 minutes ago. Here we go. Love the rain. Glad we got rain.
It's
Glad
like
I'm driving through
clockwork,
puddles
baby.
And have to keep two hands on the steering wheel going through some of those puddles.
Jason Miggs every weekday on the Blitz, 2 to 6. And of course, don't forget, coming up tomorrow, or wait, no, tomorrow we don't have anybody. It is later this week, right?
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
We got John McClain on Thursday.
We got a show every day from 2 to 6.
Well, yeah, but I was forward teasing guests, but there's nothing on the books for tomorrow that I'm aware of.
No, you're the producer. You would know.
Yeah, should.
Yeah. Cool. All right, brother.
That's what happens when you get hungry.
Well, I had a great lunch today.
That's what I keep hearing.
Ooh, our lunch was good. Absolutely.
Get home and get that steak on the Traeger.
Maybe you should run the Subway and get yourself a good 6-incher.
I'm good. Unlike Rudy, I like footlongs.
Rudy was hoping for 6 inches.
Well, he should aspire for more.
Shouldn't we all?
Exactly. Take it easy, Jason. That was Jason Miggs. You can catch him every weekday, 2 to 6. He and Joe Reinagle, they'll keep you entertained. A lot like they did today when they found out that at the Texas Hunters Trophy Association presented by NAW on Friday, when Rudy was filling in for Jason because Jason was at his Metallica concert, Rudy J dropped this little nugget on the air.
I always wanted just about 6 inches.
That turned into a whole thing on the Blitz today. And if you missed it, make sure to go back and check it out. sasportstar.com or on our YouTube channel. Just look at today's version of the Blitz and it gets a little crazy. As a matter of fact, Rudy J himself ended up joining the Blitz to discuss the words that came out of his mouth right there on that very microphone. Coming up next, though, we're going to take a look around the rest of the NFL, including the Houston Texans. What are they trying to do? What point are they trying to make with the quarterback? And are the Commanders going to be for real this year because of Sam Howell? I think it's an interesting question because that division was, you can argue, one of the toughest in the NFC, just by the sheer fact that 3 teams not only made it out of that division into the playoffs, with the 4th really fighting for a wild card team, but all of them advanced too. Has it gotten even tougher because of Sam Howell? We'll discuss that next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 941 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's R&R in the morning.
On R&R in the morning, we give you the sounds of Frisco. Mike McCarthy spoke with the media. We'll hear what he had to say. We look ahead to see who's going to play Saturday versus the Raiders that could actually make the roster. And the Athletic has ranked the NCAA football teams 1 through 133. Who got snubbed? Who got too much love? The party starts at 6.
It's your wake-up call. R&R in the morning, 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
The extracurricular activities, the traffic, the nightly homework, the traffic, the finding time to eat dinner together as a family, the traffic. Back to school can be stressful. Thanks to Ziploc, meal prep doesn't have to be. New Ziploc bags with Stay Open design have a patented stand-up bottom that helps keep the bag upright and a top grease that folds and holds for easy filling, unlocking a second set of hands in the kitchen. If only it unlocked a second set of lanes. New Ziploc brand freezer and storage bags with stay open design from SC Johnson, a family company.
Hold up, you're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mopping bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Manifesting. It's key to wealth. What do you want to manifest?
I want $500.
Say it again.
I want $500.
A couple more times.
I want $500. I want $500.
I meant a couple hundred more times.
There's an easier way you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less when you download Dave. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford.
For your free quote, call 1-800-885-5959. That's 1-800-885-5959. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-885-5959. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either a Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
chicken
a Frosty.
sandwich,
Dave's Single and a Frosty for
Frosty
me.
and a Frosty.
Okay, who said Frosty and a Frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined with a combo or any other offer.
School on! Save on!
Back to school is on, and Staples has great prices on everything you need for your best year yet. Save on notebooks, save on headphones and laptops, save on pens, markers, and all the essentials. And right now at Staples, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each. Plus, select notebooks are just 35 cents each. School on, save on at Staples, where school savings are always in session. Ends 8/26, in-store only, limit 30.
It's the Awesome Tickets Pro Football Pick'em Challenge on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your shot at $50,000 nationally, while weekly winners locally get a $50 gift card to Five Oaks Ace Hardware on Thousand Oaks. At the end of the season, locally, the best overall record wins the San Antonio Grand Prize of $1,000 worth of tickets to any events. Sign up today at sasportstar.com.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. You can follow me on Twitter at IamPledger, X, whatever you want to call it now. Follow the station at SA Sports Star, or you can comment along on our YouTube page. Just go to SA Sports Star, like, subscribe. You can comment along. I am up for the conversation. Jay Glenn says he hates the Cowboys, but if they want to win, they need to be more balanced on offense. Game managers win Super Bowls too. That is true. Game managers have won Super Bowls, and they get to Super Bowls. Now, the better quarterback usually wins in the Super Bowl unless it is game managing quarterback with elite level defense. And the Cowboys defense can be elite this year. I think they are a very, very, very good defense. Health aside, as all conversations should be prefaced when you're talking football. Look, every offensive line is great until it's not. The Kansas City Chiefs had a great offensive line. They suffered a ton of injuries throughout the playoffs, ended up playing 3 or 4 backup offensive linemen in that Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, and Pat had to run for his life. And I think you can survive an injury on the offensive line. Certain injuries are going to hurt worse than others. That's what Zach Martin's holdout was. I think Zach Martin's, if he would have held out into the regular season, both Tyler Biotish and Terrence Steele, San Antonio's own, Cibolo, shirt Steele, they have credited Zach Martin, as has Dak Prescott, about bringing them along. Great offensive linemen can help to cover up around them. They can make the offensive line a little bit better than it might seem like it is. And that's going to be an issue with the Texans. The Texans, in theory, have a very good offensive line. Laramie Tunsil's one of the best in the business. They went and got and traded for a really good guard in Shaq Mason. The left side of the line is set. The right side, you just extended Titus Howard. You haven't seen him this preseason. And inside that, you have a first-round pick in Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M, who was underwhelming last year, and to this point this year, still like the book is out on him. And then you've got a rookie second-rounder in Juice Scruggs, who has played well, has looked good in practice, but with the extra talent surrounding Kenyon Green, can he look better because of it? Or because you have 2 young guys at center and right guard, now that part of your offensive line is a concern. That's a question I have about the Houston Texans. That's one of the biggest questions I have, because that is pressure up the middle on a possible rookie quarterback. I know that D'Amico Ryans is still playing coy and hasn't named a starter. Everything they're doing tells me that CJ Stroud is going to be the starter in week 1 when they take on the Baltimore Ravens. The Washington Commanders, they were the team in the NFC East that missed the playoffs by a game. But you can argue the NFC East was one of the most difficult divisions in the NFC, because all 4 of the teams were above 500. They were all in the playoff chase. 3 of those teams made the playoffs. All 3 of those teams that made the playoffs, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles, advanced at least one round, with the Eagles making it all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't know how else you quantify one of the toughest divisions in all of the NFC. That seems like kind of ding ding TKO round over, because both normally you would quantify the NFC West as one of those, but the NFC West, because the injuries and how it affected the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, which, if you're looking for a team that could bounce back this year, I would keep an eye on Sean McVay and a possible healthy Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp to at least put up a fight in that division and be in playoff contention. And then the other team's the Cardinals, and they're god-awful and probably going to be the worst team in football this year. The Cowboys have their work cut out for them. And the reason I think this preseason getting ready, new offensive coordinator is important is because a slow start would be detrimental if this division is as good as it is again. Daniel Jones in the preseason looks like he's taken another step forward. And now that he has weapons with Darren Waller and drafting Jalen Hyatt, they are actually surrounding Daniel Jones with weapons. Saquon Barkley's in camp. He is going to play. He's not holding out. That team could very well be much better than it was last year, and that was a playoff team. It could also go the other way for them. So be careful with how you parse this, but Daniel Jones does, under Brian Daboll in his second year, look like he has gone from, all right, Daniel, don't turn the ball over, to Daniel, we're going to let you try and make some plays this year. Dak Prescott is Dak Prescott. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. It is him. It is Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Brock Purdy. He's the second best quarterback in that entire conference. The Eagles are the Eagles. And yes, they lost 2 coordinators. And yes, they lost 7 starters. They also added a ton. Jalen Carter looks like he's ready to step in and be a disruptive force that's going to make up for the loss of Javon Hargrave to San Francisco. The Eagles are going to be the Eagles. Brian Johnson was a very sought-after name, even in this past coaching cycle. Him taking over as offensive coordinator for Shane Steichen, I think there won't be that much of a drop-off, if any, offensively. Defensively, more questions. Losing Jonathan Gannon, we're going to see how that team rebounds defensively, but they've got the talent. You added Kylie Ringo, you added Javon Hargrave, you've got Nakobe Dean already. Like, they are Georgia Northeast. And the Commanders, they put it last year. Now you've added Sam Howell. And the only game Sam Howell is 1-0 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He beat the Dallas Cowboys in week 17. And he's looked good in the preseason. And you've got Brian Robinson. And you've got Antonio Gibson. And you've got Scary Terry. And then the defense, was Montez Sweat and Daron Payne. And, oh, by the way, Chase Young's coming back healthy this year. And he has been a disruptive force when we've seen him healthy and on the football field. So that defense, at least the defensive line, is going to be a nightmare for opposing offensive lines. And by the way, they added a competent offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy, who, as long as the players quit crying about how hard he coaches and actually listen to the players from Kansas City, they're saying, hey, listen to this guy. He's going to make you the best version of yourself and get you where you need to go. As long as they can get over themselves and do that and not be coddled anymore, that team's going to be pretty good. Now, how good? Playoff teams? Could. It would be very hard, though. That is one of the harder things that you have to do in the NFL. Look, I appreciate y'all for riding along with me here on Extra Innings with pleasure. Coming up tomorrow, don't forget R&R early in the morning. Maybe me, maybe Rob. I'm not sure. He wasn't feeling well last night. I had an appointment this morning with my mom, so I couldn't fill in with Rudy. But I've made it known that I'm available tomorrow if Rob's still feeling the effects of whatever it was. So R&R tomorrow morning, getting you started, 6 to 10. And then, of course, ride home. We've got your lunch hour with Jim Rome, noon to 2, and then the Blitz taking you 2 to 6 before we get back to me about 23 hours from now. Thanks for spending your afternoon with me. Get home safe, everybody. Careful on those roads. They're slick, and we all know none of us can drive in wet weather here in San Antonio. This has been fun. Have a good one, guys.
94.1 San Antonio's Fall Golf Classic is back Monday, October 2nd at Olympia Hills Golf Club. Get your slot now for $120 per person or $400 per foursome. Plus, a hole-in-one shot for your chance at $50,000 or a $1,000 gift card. 94.1 San Antonio's Fall Golf Classic, benefiting the Lupus Foundation of America Lone Star Chapter. Presented